Welcome to Block 10. This was planted in the late 80s by Susan Cipes himself, the proprietor of Summerhill. He brought these clones back from Epernay, and they really are our Grand Cru prize block at the Summerhill vineyard.
Here we are in the Chardonnay block with the 2020 estate grown biodynamic Chardonnay.
Yeah, so we brought this fruit in, we picked it by hand, we destemmed it, we pressed it off, we let it settle in a stainless steel tank for about 12 hours. From there we racked off about 3/4 of it into another stainless steel tank, and then 1/4 of it went into brand new 500-liter oak puncheons. And then we let Mother Nature do the rest. So it was a full spontaneous biodynamic ferment. We didn't add any yeast, we didn't add any nutrient, we just let Mother Nature do its magic. And then once fermentation finished, we blended it back together.
I'm so proud of these biodynamic wines because when we make them, it's really like our sort of scorecard for the health and vitality of our vineyard. This is how we know when we're getting it right in the vineyard, is when these wines ferment well, and they ferment to be clean, beautiful wines with sort of classic virtues. When they end up so elegantly and beautifully, that means that there is enough nutrients and health in the vineyard and in the grapes themselves to turn into wines well, with guidance from the winemaking team, of course. So what do you think, Susan?
I think it smells absolutely beautiful. There's a purity of fruit here that is just spectacular, Michael. I'm really excited to take a sip. but for me, right off the bat, I'm getting these gorgeous ripe yellow apple notes, beautiful ripe pear, a little bit of lemon curd and custard, maybe a little hint of butterscotch as well. It's very, very beautiful. So
there's something about these wines, even just like the way they feel in the mouth and the purity of them. I think when you make wines without any additives like that, you get something that's totally unique, totally singular, and I don't know, you can almost feel it, like just the way it feels in your mouth.
Mm-hmm. And has an electricity to it. Like it's alive. It feels alive. It's really, really stunning. And again, that purity of fruit on the palate really, really comes through as well. That apple, that pear.
Definitely want to keep drinking it. And Michael, you talked a little about oak treatment when
Yes.
you were making this wine.
Yeah, we had some oak puncheons. They're about 500 liters, brand new French oak. And we use them, there's a little bit of an oakiness to it, but not a lot. It just kind of sits in the back of the wine. But we really use them for the texture and the structure that they provide. Along with that little bit of oakiness, they give it a roundness and a weight that I think really balances out the wine. And I think a big part of the structure in this wine was what happened inside those barrels. It's a wine where we didn't want to go too far with anything. We kind of wanted to let the wine speak to us and decide what it wanted to do. And so it was important to use that oak, but not too much. And I think that shows through in the palate, it shows through in the nose, and it gives the wine a balance and a structure that we wouldn't otherwise have.
Yeah, it's awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to enjoy this one. This year, certainly we're going to be drinking it because it's quite good young. Mm-hmm. What do you think aging potential for this wine?
Decade, no problem.
Yeah, you think it's going to go the distance?
I think
nice
like in
acid, nice
5 to 7 years, it'll be so, so beautiful.
Yeah, so there you go. It's a wine that you can buy a case of. You can drink some now. You can start to get to know it, and you can see how it develops and keep it in your cellar for a few years to come, and we'll figure that out together, hopefully.
Or if you're like me, buy 2 cases, because I'll definitely drink one and then...
Okay, so next stop is the Pinot Noir. We're also releasing a biodynamic estate grown Pinot Noir, so let's go to the Pinot Noir vineyard.
Estate grown biodynamic Pinot Noir. So we brought this fruit in, we hand harvested it, destemmed it, pumped it into a 10,000 liter oak tank or oak foudre, where the ambient yeast did the fermentation for us. As the wine ferments, the skins start to float to the top from all the CO2 formed. And so we would come in once a day and we'd pump the juice over the skins. Once it was almost done fermenting, we pressed it all off into a stainless steel tank, let it settle, and then put 50% of the wine into neutral oak barrels for about 3 months. The other half was aged in stainless steel. Right before bottling, we blended it back together, added a little bit of sulfur, and bottled.
It's incredibly light and gossamer, and on the nose, getting these delicate aromas of pomegranate and tart cranberry and underripe raspberry, a little bit of crushed rose petal as well. And then on the palate, the tannins are so fine-grained, they're almost non-existent. This is such a silky, smooth, supple Pinot. I think perfect for spring. The kind of red wine I would want to drink as the sun comes out. So
It's got a lightness and a freshness.
It is, if I can remember off the top of my head or at the bottle, it's 11.5%.
Yeah, so it is a lighter wine. Yeah, and which is like a style. You know what I mean? Like you can have a Pinot Noir that's brooding and 15%, you know, but this is not that. This is something else.
Yes.
So how would you use this in other than just a nice spring day, like pairings or
well, lunch,
situations?
let me tell you. I think 2 bottles for lunch would be just perfect. But for pairing, I mean, like it still has really lovely bright acidity, that crunchy red fruit. I think lighter fish dishes, even something like spring salmon with spring vegetables would be absolutely beautiful. Or like a lighter wild mushroom risotto, that acidity would really help to refresh the palate after something rich and earthy.
And what about aging? Do you think this is a wine to drink young or something to keep around for a while? Or
I mean, I think that this is drinking beautifully now. I think I would drink young for the fruit.
Yeah, so I mean, it's fresh, it's bright. I know I'll be popping corks and enjoying them, but it's also got a nice acid to it and a nice fruit structure. So if you do like older Pinots, I think 5 years, no problem. Develop a little bit more complexity, a little bit more of that earthiness, but I don't think there's going to be a bad time to enjoy this wine. I think.
Okay, so these are the new estate-grown biodynamic wines we're releasing this week. Chardonnay from 2020, Pinot Noir from 2019. I think you guys are really going to find a lot of pleasure in them. These are very pure, very authentic wines and very delicious. Like they're really wines that are just make you feel happy and they taste delicious. This one is not a wine for the ages, but not all wines should be. Some wines are just about pleasure. So I hope you guys enjoy them.